Golden Radio Hour.
Good evening, friends. This is your host to welcome you through the creaking door into the inner sanctum. Come in. Come on in and join my wispy white friend. Oh, you're shivering. Cold? Well, don't let it throw you. Just remember that many are cold, but few are frozen. Oh, yes, your sheet is reserved for you. But please don't tear it. Remember the high ghost of living. Now, if you've got some time to kill, let's kill it.
Tonight's Inner Sanctum mystery, The Judas Clock, was written by Frederick Maytho and stars Barry Kroger in the role of Sebastian with Lawson Zerbe as Andrew.
Now, all comfortable and tense? Good. Now, I want to warn you, if you feel a pair of thin, cold hands passing over your face, don't be frightened. The hands belong to a clock. A monster called Cleopatra's clock. It's a very unusual clock. For years, it's been giving people the works. The story is really the story of Sebastian Packer. Since this clock can only murder, since it can't talk, we let Sebastian speak for it.
I'm a clockmaker. I carry on the profession my father taught me in London. I like clocks, all that is but one. For 30 years, I've looked for a certain clock and a certain man. The clock is known to collectors as Cleopatra's clock. The man I swore to kill when, as a boy of 14, I closed my father's blazing eyes and wiped the froth of blood from his lips. Last night, I found Cleopatra's clock. Tonight, I may have found the man.
I'm told you're an expert clock repairman, Mr.
Packer, madam. Well, yes, I suppose I am.
Well, I have a clock. Rather, my husband has.
Yes?
And it hasn't run for years. Would you have a look at it?
Well, can't you bring it in?
Oh, heavens, no. It weighs 500 pounds. One of those huge marble things. Italian Renaissance, I'd say.
Marble? Italian? Could you describe it further?
Well, it's rather unusual. Black marble, heavily carved with strange Egyptian characters. The ivory face has a beautifully etched scene on it, but it's a gruesome one.
Gruesome? What kind of scene?
It's a picture of a woman, a beautiful woman, and she's holding the limp form of a young man in her arms. It's ghastly.
Cleopatra's clock. I knew without seeing it why the clock wouldn't run. It had been built in Italy for a prince of the House of Savoy in 1598. He conceived the clock when he discovered that his family treasures included 40 gold coins minted by Cleopatra and an Egyptian parchment. A parchment describing in horrible detail the death by poison of Cleopatra's young brother. The 40 gold coins were those Cleopatra had given a trusted servant to administer the poison to her brother. The writer of the parchment had slain the servant for his treachery and carried the coins with him to Rome. The Cleopatra clock was made to run only when the 40 gold coins were in place in the clock's hollow weights. 20 in each weight. And the coins had been in my possession since the day of my father's death.
Well, Mr. Packer, can you fix it?
What? Oh, sorry. Daydreaming. Yes, of course. Does Mr.
Arnold.
Does Mr. Arnold know that you're having the clock repaired?
No, we've only been married a few weeks, and I'd like to have it working when he comes back to town tomorrow. Sort of a surprise.
I see. I'll be there in half an hour, Mrs. Arnold. So last night I went to the Arnold house, and I found Cleopatra's clock again. It's 6 feet of black marble, glistening. Its pendulum, motionless. Its hollow weights, empty. And waiting. I started to work. Foghorns from the East River sounded much as I remembered they did in London. And suddenly I was back there on a fateful day about a fortnight after the clock had first been uncrated by my father. I was in the shop when the man from Scotland Yard stepped in. He walked straight to the clock and stared at it.
Good afternoon, sir. Does the clock interest you?
Very much. When did you acquire it?
A cousin bought it at auction in Italy, and I'm displaying it for sale on consignment.
My name's Pettibone, Scotland Yard. I've been looking for this clock for a month. It was stolen in Italy.
Stolen?
Yes, Mr. Packer, and worse. Murder was done. You know, I'm afraid you've involved yourself in a bit of something here.
Murder?
I'm taking possession of the clock in the name of the Crown.
I shall never forget the look of horror on the detective's face as he laid his hand on the clock's carved column. It froze there while his face drained to pasty white and his eyes bulged. He opened and closed his mouth soundlessly and crumpled to the floor, his hands to his throat. He was still and twisted and very dead. Mr. Pettibone had died of a heart attack the moment he took possession of the clock. My father wanted time to think, so I helped him drag Pettibone into the stockroom. I went to my quarters. I dozed fitfully, to awake hours later at the sound of angry voices.
Well, Cousin Andrew, you've done me a fine turn, haven't you?
I've told you I didn't mean to kill the old girl. It was an accident. And don't talk so loud. The boy will hear us.
You killed her as soon as you learned that she'd made out a will in your favor. And then when you thought it was safe, you sold all her furnishings and sent the clock to me to sell.
All right, I did. And you're in it to the ears.
I'll go to the police.
And how will you explain poor stiff Mr. Pettibone lying in your stockroom all this while?
Well,
Besides, there's nothing to fear. Now that Pettibone is gone. He was the only one who suspected me. Now, you're the only one who knows.
I'll crate this cursed black monster tomorrow, and you leave with it.
And will you also crate Mr. Pettibone?
Oh.
Look, I have a plan. Here, sit down in this chair, right here. And I'll show you how we can solve the whole thing.
My young heart beat with a wild dread as I listened. I could only see Cousin Andrew's back, but I could see Father seated dejectedly in the chair near the black marble clock, his head in his hands. It was midnight. All the clocks in the shop began striking the hour, and louder than all the rest was the chime of the evil clock. If only then I had known, I might have done something. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And before my horrified eyes, the heavy marble piece leaned slowly from the wall and crashed across my father's back. Cousin Andrew stood facing my father as the clock pinned his frail form in the crushed chair. It choked him. He made little, pitiful sounds, his eyes begging for life. But my cousin Andrew just stood his back to me and watched.
Wandering sinners, you die hard.
Then Cousin Andrew ran from the shop, crying for help and claim an accident. I raced into the shop. My father was dead. I choked back my tears and closed his poor, staring eyes. Then, for some reason, I thought of the coins in the clock's weights. I took them and I ran from the shop, the blood-stained gold pieces jangling merrily in my pocket. Armed with the notion that the coins were of value and the definite notion that I must eat, I approached one of the many dingy little curio shops in the Limehouse district. I stepped through the fog toward a shop where a dim light burned in the rear. Every inch of wall and ceiling was hung with curios, old armor, swords, shields. I would have run out, but a wizened, apish man barked at me from the rear.
Well, what do you want?
I have something to sell.
What have you got?
I have 40 gold pieces, sir. They're supposed to have been the coins Cleopatra paid a servant to poison her brother.
I twist the scrawny neck off of you. You're pulling my leg, eh?
Oh, no, sir, I'm not pulling your leg, sir. Here they are.
Blimey. Gold, right enough. Where did you cop them?
I didn't steal them. They belonged to my father.
Oh, it's a likely tale.
Will you buy them, sir?
Oh, buy 'em, he says. Buy 'em. You get out of here before I cause a bobber, you scamp. Go on, now get out.
Give me back my
Get
coins.
out or I'll come about and fetch you a sound one.
The ugly brute came toward me. He held my coins clutched in a tight, hairy fist. Before I could move, he'd struck me the wall with a clatter. And then it happened. As I hit the wall, my eye caught a metallic gleam above me. I leaped back instinctively. As the hairy arm thrust at me again, a heavy metallic object dropped from the ceiling. It struck across the forearm of the clenched fist. I stared first at the man's gaping mouth, then at the great bleeding gash in the arm he clutched with his other hand, at the blood that dripped on the object that had struck him. It was an ancient headsman's axe. The gaping mouth opened and closed, making no sound. And then, with a moan of horror, the pawnbroker crumpled to the floor. I clamped my mouth while a cry of panic. I stooped to gather all the coins that had fallen from the man's hand. Blood made them slippery. Thrusting them into my pocket, I stumbled, whimpering in fright, through the shop and into the night. And the fog of London never swallowed a more frightened and a more lonely boy. I hadn't touched those horrible coins since the day the storekeeper's wrist had been cut by the falling headsman's axe. By now, I half believed the legend that evil followed them. I began to feel that the only way I could escape their curse was to find the Cleopatra clock and put the coins back in the hollow weights where they belonged. One day, as I read the notices in the Times, my heart skipped a beat. Auction of clocks at Chopin Place auction rooms, Saturday at 7. Rare items, one of them. Fine Italian Renaissance piece of black marble. Rare treat for collectors. Come early. I went early. I was the auction room's first visitor. At the rear of the shop, a balding, dim-lit-eyed man looked up, appraised me as poor in prospects, and turned back to his paper. I felt the 40 gold coins in my pocket as I sauntered casually towards the black, gleaming clock. Other clocks about were ticking. Only the pendulum of the Egyptian clock remained motionless. As I cautiously opened the glass door of the clock to reach for the hollow weights, I seemed to hear my father's words again.
It's an evil clock, son. Evil as Satan himself.
I reached for one of the weights, my intention being to unscrew the cap of the weight quickly and to replace the coin. But I saw something I'd never noticed before. Directly beneath the right-hand weight was a small, round, flat bit of metal set into the floor of the pendulum box. It startled me. I looked over my shoulder towards the man in the rear. He was watching me. I had the unhooked weight in my hand within the clock. I'd have to work fast now to replace the coins. My fingers were sweaty with excitement. The weight slipped. It fell directly on the metal piece beneath it.
I say, what are you doing there? Leave at me!
I paid no attention to the man now coming toward me, because something was happening within the clock. A whirring sound of wheels turning perhaps. And then in open-mouthed wonder, I watched the supporting panel in the front of the clock suddenly start to rise on hinges. The clock was off balance. The clock moved forward ponderously, and I stood there transfixed in the path of a black marble monster.
Falling! Look out, you
I
idiot!
jumped to one side.
Idiot!
Waited for no more. I ran for the street. The coins jangled merrily in my pocket as before. I was where I had started, only as I ran, I knew. My father had been murdered, and I knew how. And I knew who had done it. I walked for miles, trying to pull myself together. I wandered aimlessly, or so I thought. But fate had traced my path before me, because I was startled to find myself staring into the shop window of a rare coin dealer named Megaroyd. I walked into the shop. Mr. Megaroyd seemed a nice little man. He smiled a bit quizzically at my firm belief that I possessed the betrayal coins of Cleopatra. I poured them on his counter.
Oh, I say, you could be right, you know. These are the right era. Oh, I say, suppose they were. Let me put a glass to them.
Would they be worth a great deal, even if they weren't?
Well, let me see. Oh, yes, gracious, yes, they are nearly new. Fine condition. They should be worth a great deal as collector's items.
Well, Mr. Megaroyd, I feel there's something I ought to tell you about these pieces.
Yes?
It's not important.
Oh, well, now, just a moment. I have a catalogue on this Egyptian era in my show window. I'll fetch it just a jiffy.
The coins lay on the counter. I watched Mr. Megaroyd run down the aisle. As he approached the display window, his foot caught in an electric wire which lay across the floor. The lights went out, and I saw him pitch forward. Mr. Megaroyd! The street light peered through the broken plate glass. It made across a grotesquely sprawled form in the shop window. I needed no more light than there was to see what had happened. The upper half of the heavy plate glass had broken and dropped flat against the solid lower half. Mr. Megaroyd lay as the pawn shopkeeper had, holding with one hand the bleeding forearm he had pushed through his plate glass window as he tripped. The gold coins were on the floor, covered with blood once again. And tonight, I will find out if Mr. Arnold is Cousin Andrew. If he is, I shall feel no remorse in killing him. While working to repair the clock last night, I discovered that my father's accidental death had been a well-conceived, diabolical murder. If the right-hand weight was heavier than normal, thus reached the floor of the clock on the 12th stroke of midnight, it tripped a trigger, which collapsed the base of the clock and caused it to fall forward. My father had died on the 12th stroke of midnight.
Have you finished, Mr. Parker?
No, Mrs. Arnold. I'll have to come back tomorrow night. What time do you expect Mr. Arnold tomorrow?
Oh, about 11, I'd say. Will you be finished by then?
Well, I think so. I'll have to take these weights to the shop with me, though. Something has to be added. I put the coins in their place within the weights. Not 20 in each weight, but 20 in one and 10 in the other. The other 10 coins are in my pocket. In another pocket, I have a small 38, although I don't plan to use it. I have a 30-year-old date to keep.
Think you'll have it fixed in time to strike midnight?
Oh, yes, Mr. Arnold. It will strike at midnight. There we are. Weights are in place now. And let's see, it's exactly 5 minutes before midnight. I set the hands, and then just a little shove on the pendulum. So, and Cleopatra's clock ticks again.
It
wakes from a 30-year sleep, eh? Cousin Sebastian?
Cousin? Well,
That's what I wanted to tell you. My wife told me your father owned this clock in London.
yes.
Then I was your father's cousin. So you are Sebastian Packer, the little boy who ran away that night.
You are Cousin Andrew.
Yes, yes. But seriously, I don't know how much you know of that horrible night when your father was killed.
I know the clock fell on Father. I heard the sound from my room. I was frightened. I came down the stairs later, in time to see them carry Father away. He was all covered up.
So that was why I didn't find you in your room afterward. It happened so fast.
Yes.
We were sitting, talking. The clocks in the store were striking 12. Suddenly, the base of Cleopatra's clock seemed to cave in, and
I know.
I bought the clock at an auction a few years later. Sentimental, I guess. Yeah. Had it all fixed. It's good and solid now. I saw to that.
Yes. Well, I think I'd better run along now, Cousin Andrew.
Oh, nonsense. Let's make up for lost time and get acquainted.
Well,
Come now. I have some fine old port from England here. Sit down a while. No, not that chair. This one's a lot more comfortable.
Oh, very well. It's a funny thing when you work with clocks as long as I have. You get to be quite philosophical about time.
Oh, is that so? How?
Well, here I sit by the big clock, just as my father said 30 years ago. Do you know how many seconds ago that was, Cousin Andrew?
No, do you?
Well, there are 350,360,000 seconds in 10 years. That would be 946,080,000 seconds in 30 years.
You've got quite a mechanical mind, Sebastian. Here, try this port here.
Okay. Here's for Father. What's the matter, Cousin Andrew? Are you ill?
No.
Your face is drawn and gray.
Shut up.
Cousin Andrew, it's late. It's after midnight. Better go. I say, you do look awfully ill. Not that I don't care.
Thundering sinners. Where are you going? Don't go.
I must go, Cousin Andrew. I told the patrolman near my shop that I would like him to meet me at 20 after midnight.
The patrolman?
Yes. But here, sit down and relax. Take my chair. It's more comfortable. Well, you're shaking like a leaf. Now, you just sit quietly. I'll see myself out.
Thundering sinners.
Good night, Cousin Andrew.
Sebastian! Get it out! Get the clock off me!
You die hard, too, don't you? It was just a matter of timing. I set the hand a minute fast, and the weight didn't touch your clever little spring device till just now, because it's lighter by 10 pieces of blood-stained gold from the coffers of another murderer, Cleopatra. Rest easy, Father.
And a fine chime was had by all. Gonna leave you now, folks, with a timely moral. You can figure out how long you've lived, sure. That's your pastime. But figuring out how long you're going to live, that's just any old time. Oh, yes, by the way, this story should teach you another lesson. Never complain when you have to work late. Remember that overtime is certainly better than undertime.
Sanctum was heard in the United States over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System, and has been rebroadcast for servicemen and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
Hello. Oh, there you are. I was afraid for a moment that you had forgotten our appointment. Why, you almost scared me to death. And that won't do after all the pains I've taken to scare you. You remember me, don't you? I'm your host on behalf of the makers of Carter's Pills. And you're to be my guest tonight in the mysterious circle of the inner sanctum. Come in, friends, won't you? Thank you. Take that chair with the fire. Good. And you'll become accustomed to the dim lights in a moment. Don't get too comfortable, because we'll have you out of that chair with thrills and chills, shivers and quivers. You're on our side, aren't you? You'd better be. But don't worry. Instead of the arch criminals haunting us, we're going to haunt them. We're going to scare the daylights out of them. Yes. Welcome, then, friends. Welcome to the mysterious circle of the inner sanctum. And listen to as weird and strange a tale as ever was told. The amazing death of Mrs. Putnam. The night is dismal. A light shines uncertainly in the room of a large, gloomy mansion. Suddenly, a sobbing, hysterical woman slams the door shut, rushes to the telephone.
Get the police, quick. The police. Quiet, Wolf. Oh, hurry. Please, hurry. Hello?
Hello? Police department?
This is Mrs. Putnam. You've got to save me from them. They'll kill me.
Put that telephone down.
Help, they're going to kill me. I'm being murdered.
Where are you?
Oh, they're killing me. Help.
Hello, operator. This is Jeff Hansen, police headquarters. Trace the call that just came through to us. Hurry.
That's funny, Jeff.
Did you hear what I heard, Porky?
I sure did, unless we're both having the same dream.
Hold it, Porky. Yes? Yes, operator. Hansen, Jeff Hansen. You have? That's swell. Write this down, Porky.
Yes, sure.
Yes? The Putnam House, Maple Street. Thank you very much.
The Putnam House?
Yeah.
Hey, that's the first time in centuries we've heard that name in the police department.
Come on, Porky. Someone in that house is in great danger. We've got to get there, and quickly. Put your foot all the way down on the gas.
Oh, what's all the excitement, Jeff? It's just another murder case or something. We get them wholesale.
Maybe you're right, Porky.
You're too jumpy lately, Jeff. What's the matter with you?
Oh, nothing. Just on edge.
You ought to get married. Then you'd have so many other troubles you wouldn't have time to think of yourself. You know, everybody should get married. At least once.
Especially you, Porky.
Well, I'd get married tomorrow if I knew a girl who'd love me for myself alone.
Keep your eyes on the road, Miss Advice to the Lovelorn.
All right. I forgive you for the crack. Now, look, Jeff. You and me is a great detective. Only you can solve everything but the mysteries of the heart. So what does nature do? Nature endows me with the wisdom which you ain't got in that department. Ain't nature wonderful? Sending me to straighten out your amours? Now, first of all, you gotta learn to treat love light.
This is Maple Street, Porky.
Oh, okay. I'll take up the lessons in love where I left off later.
Pull up, Miss Lovelorn. Here we are. Let's go.
Right, Jeff. It's a pretty old house. Ain't exactly a haunted place, but a ghost could feel at home here.
Don't be silly. This house is fairly modern. What are you muttering about?
I'm counting the stairs. Didn't you teach me to observe everything? 7, 8.
Now remember, keep your eyes open and your mouth shut.
You know how reliable I am, Jeff.
Yeah, I do.
Yes?
We're from police headquarters.
One moment, please. You can't come in like that.
It's all right, Williamson.
Yes, Miss Lewis.
Come in, please.
Thank you, miss. My name is Jeff Hansen. This is Ed Lamb, better known as Porky.
I'm Lois Putnam.
How you doing, Miss Putnam?
Did you say you were from police headquarters?
Yes?
That's odd. How did you find out so soon?
We had a telephone call.
From whom?
It was a woman. I believe she said her name was Putnam.
What? Oh, no. When did you get this call?
Only a few minutes ago. The woman screamed that she was being murdered. She cried out for help.
Oh, no. What in heaven's name are you talking about? My aunt is dead.
Dead?
Yes. She died 2 hours ago.
Her name was Mrs. Putnam?
Yes, Martha Putnam.
You say your aunt died 2 hours ago?
Yes.
But we received a phone call for help only 20 minutes ago.
That's impossible. Are you sure the call came from here?
It was traced to your number. Besides, I believe the woman said her name was Mrs. Putnam. Isn't that right, Porky?
It sounded like it.
This is some idiot's idea of humor. The poor woman has been dead more than 2 hours.
Lois, you should rest. You haven't closed your eyes.
I will, Doctor. These men are from police headquarters.
Oh?
This is Dr. Holloway.
Doctor?
Detective Hansen, did you say?
Jeff Hansen. This is Ed Lamb.
Hi, Doc.
Were the police informed of your aunt's death, Lois?
They traced a strange phone call back to this house, Doctor. Somebody screamed for help.
From this house?
Yes.
Then why didn't we hear it?
Perhaps we made a mistake. However, we're forced to sort of look around. Please forgive us, Miss Putnam.
Do whatever you like.
Thank you.
Well, perhaps you'd better lie down, Lois.
I'll be all right.
Porgy, I want you to make a thorough search of the house and don't let anything go unnoticed.
You betcha.
Oh, Doctor.
Yes. Be back in a moment, Lois. What is it?
If you don't mind, Doctor,
Do you wish to ask me questions?
Please.
Quite all right.
What caused Mrs. Putnam's death?
The causes of her death were quite natural. A blood clot lodged itself in the veins of her heart. You may have heard it called coronary thrombosis.
How many members are there in the family?
Well, there's Lois and Mrs. Putnam's brother. He's very ill, and his sight is failing.
Is there anyone else?
Yes, there's Joel Adams, the gardener. He lives in the back of the garden. He and the butler have been with Mrs. Putnam for years.
Would you mind, Doctor, if I looked at Mrs. Putnam?
If you wish, just follow me. A fascinating mystery, friends? A strange telephone call late at night. A woman screams for help, a dog barks, 2 shots ring out, and then the police dash to the house and find that the woman died of natural causes 2 hours earlier. Riddle me that, my friend. Oh, have no fear, for the day of ghost-like voices from the dead and the day of superstition is past. Or is it? We shall see. We shall see. This way, Mr. Hanson.
Thank you. Why do you keep this door locked?
Oh, simply to avoid any scenes. They're all so high-strung.
Oh. What's the matter with your hand, Doctor?
You mean this bandage?
Hurt yourself?
Well, just clumsiness. While cutting some gauze, I snipped my hand. It bled rather profusely.
I'm sorry for all this inconvenience, but in my business, it's wisest to check on everything.
I understand. You wish to examine the body more thoroughly?
No. No, I don't think so. She looks rather natural for a corpse. There we go.
Yes.
May I see the butler now?
Yes, this Castle will bring him in just a few moments.
After I see him, I'd like to talk to the others, too.
Oh, you'll be tactful with Lois, won't you? She's quite broken up. She was attached to the old lady.
Of course.
Did you ring for me, Dr. Holloway?
Yes, Williamson. Detective Hanson wished to talk to you.
Yes, sir.
And now, if you'll excuse me, I'll take a look at Lois.
Quite all right, Doctor?
Excuse me.
Your name is Williamson, I gathered.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been working for Mrs. Putnam?
32 years.
Long time, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
By the way, did you hear any odd noises or screaming this evening?
No, sir.
You did hear 2 shots, though, didn't you?
No, sir.
You're not frightened, are you, Williamson?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am. This house isn't what it seems on the outside.
Oh?
No, it's full of hatred. Everyone hated Mrs. Putnam, and she hated all of us. The Lord found vengeance. She didn't deserve to live. There wasn't a kind thought in her head.
Who killed her?
The devil took her.
Who fired those 2 shots?
Lightning struck twice.
Where is the dog?
In Hades with his mistress.
Don't think you're fooling me, Williamson, by avoiding my questions. Take me to Mr. Putnam's room.
Yes, sir. It's right here. He's very ill, though. Shall I knock?
No. No, you may go.
Yes, sir. Who is it?
I'm sorry to intrude. Are you Mr. Putnam?
Who are you?
Detective Hanson, police headquarters.
Oh, the police, eh? What are you doing in my house?
I thought the house belonged to your sister.
It belongs to me now. What business is it of yours? Who else would you leave everything to?
Mr. Putnam, did anything unusual happen to your sister earlier this evening? I mean, has she been ill?
Cat was never ill in her life.
Would there be any reason for anyone murdering her?
Murder? I don't know. Maybe. She's hurt each and every one of us. She ruined Lois' life by sending her fiancé away many years ago. She made me into the wreck I am with her cruel tongue and her devilish disposition. She was responsible for the death of the gardener's wife long ago. Hasn't done a kind thing in her life. If she's been murdered, then I say good riddance.
Is it possible that all of you had given her cause to treat you that way?
Don't you dare say that. You stupid, foolish maniac. You didn't know her. How dare you? Get out of my room. Get out of my house. Get out of my...
I'm sorry, Mr. Putnam. I didn't mean to upset you. I'll go now.
Jeff! Hey, Jeff!
Yes, Porky?
Hey, I've been looking for you.
Yes?
Yeah, I've been all over the house. I checked on everything. 15 rooms, 19 windows, 8 beds, 3 fireplaces, and 3 bathrooms.
And nothing looked suspicious?
No. You think maybe there is some mistake, Jeff?
I don't know. A phone call being traced here is absolute. They never make a mistake. But her voice and her death almost 2 hours before we got the call makes it strange. Must confess I'm stumped.
Did you talk to everyone?
I'd like to talk to the gardener, but right now we'll pretend that everything's all right, that we made a mistake. We'll drive away and then come back later.
You mean you really ain't thoroughly convinced?
That's right, Porky. I've got a hunch that we're up against a case that's stranger than any we've ever known or heard of. Get in the car, Porky, and don't look back.
Right, Jeff.
I don't want them to think that we're even slightly suspicious. They may be watching us from the window. Throw on your lights and get the car started.
Yep.
Porky.
What, Jeff?
Don't move. Just look over there.
Where?
Right straight in the beam of the light.
Well, I don't... Oh, you mean?
In the garden. That mound of earth.
Looks kind of fresh.
Right.
Holy Mazuma. You think maybe somebody's buried under there?
We'll soon find out. Drive the car down a few blocks. We'll come back on foot and very quietly.
Jumping catfish, Jeff.
Not so loud, Porky. Don't hit the rock. Just loosen it.
How much deeper are we gonna dig, Jeff?
The earth is still soft. We haven't reached what we're after.
What are we after?
We'll know soon enough.
You think the old lady might be buried here and the body in the house of somebody else?
I don't know.
Hey, Jeff.
Huh?
Jeff, I hit something firm with my shovel. Feels like a body.
All right. Don't use the shovel anymore. We'll dig with our hands. Porky, you're right. It is a body.
Yeah, it feels like it's wrapped up in a rug of some kind.
All right. Get a grip on it. We'll pull it up.
Okay.
Let's go. It's the dog.
The dog we heard barking on the phone.
Then there were shots, and that woman's voice did come from this house. They killed the dog and the woman, too.
Are you completely mystified? Wondering about the strange death of Mrs. Putnam? And what will happen next? Well, there's no need to be frightened. We know how old-fashioned it is to stop like this suddenly and leave you in mid-air wondering about the outcome of the story. Oh, are you in mid-air? Good. But we assure you everything will come out all right. We won't let you down. And this is as good a time as any to remind you of someone else who won't let you down. The makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills. When you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills. They do the work of calomel, but have no calomel in them. For they are simple pills made of vegetable drugs. They wake up the flow of one of our most vital digestive juices. When this vital juice flows at the rate of 2 pints a day, it helps to digest our food and bring back the glorious feeling that goes with regularity. Then most folks feel like happy days are here again. But be sure you get the genuine Carter's Little Liver Pills. Now let's solve tonight's inner sanctum mystery. Where were we? Oh, yes. Jeff and Porky had just unearthed the body of a dog.
The dog we heard barking on the phone.
Then there were shots, and that woman's voice did come from this house. They killed the dog and the woman, too.
Oh, I just swallowed a lump that had nails on it, Jeff.
Porky, down.
What's the idea? Throw me right into...
Shh. Someone came to the window.
Yeah, but you didn't have to throw me right into the grave.
Sorry. Here, I'll help you out. They've left the window. Now, look, you stay here, Porky. I'm going in to talk to the gardener. You watch the house. I'll be right back.
Hey, you ain't gonna leave me here with this dead dog, are you?
Shh, quiet.
What do you want?
I'm from police headquarters. You better let me in.
What do you want?
I want some information about that dog that was buried in your garden.
You're crazy.
Who buried it there?
There's no dog in my garden.
Was there a dog in the house?
I don't know.
You'd better answer my questions, Mr. Adams, unless you prefer going to jail.
I don't know anything.
Who killed Mrs. Putnam?
Everybody. Everybody hated her.
What do you mean by that?
Everyone in that house wanted her to die. Her brother cursed her. Williamson might have poisoned her.
What about you?
Me? I didn't hate her anymore. She promised to leave all her money to me.
Oh? Why?
Well, it was her only sign of repentance.
Why, no other reason?
None that might be your business.
Did you hear any shots from the house this evening?
I was away.
Jeff! Jeff!
What is it, Porky?
Hey, come quick, Jeff.
What's happened?
I had a brainstorm. Hurry, Jeff, hurry, come on.
You'd better not leave your house, Mr. Adams.
I'll be here.
What's up, Porky?
The windows. Huh? While I'm out here watching the house, I casually count everything. The stairs again. I count the colored bricks and the large bricks, and then I count the windows. Count them, Jeff.
What are you driving at?
Count them. Come on, walk around the house.
Huh?
Count them.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 17, 19, 20. 20 windows. Great galloping ghost. 20 windows on the outside, and you said you counted
19 on the inside.
That means that there's one window camouflaged on the inside. There must be a room within a room. Come on, Porky. We're going back inside that house. Only this time uninvited and unseen.
You think maybe the room is up around here, Jeff?
Just keep trying, Porky. Run your fingers over every inch of wall and furniture.
Yeah.
You got something?
Heart failure. I get a splinter in my finger. Why did I ever...
Shh, quiet, Porky. I think I've got it.
No kidding?
Get over here. Have your gun ready? There's a little knob here in back of the bookcase. I think it will swing the bookcase open and lead us into another room. Here goes. Look out, Porky!
You've come to kill me, but I'll kill you first. I'll kill you if you come near me.
We haven't come to kill anyone. Who are you?
I'm Mrs. Putnam.
What? Mrs. Jeff, there's the ghost we needed to top off everything.
Light a match, Porky.
Oh, there's a candle over there, Jeff.
All right, light it and bring it over here.
Okay.
How do we know that you're telling the truth, that you are Mrs. Putnam?
Heaven knows I am. But I wish I was someone else. I've gone through so much.
If you are Mrs. Putnam, then who is the dead woman downstairs?
The dead woman?
Yes.
She's my cook. She took suddenly ill and died earlier this evening.
Your cook?
I can prove to you that I'm Mrs. Putnam.
How?
My signature. I signed a new will tonight. They forced me to will everything to them. Oh, you must believe me.
We'll check on that. Was there any shooting in the house this evening?
Yes. They shot my dog while the poor creature was trying to protect me. I called the police to help me. I thought they meant to kill me, but instead they brought me up here to face the living dead.
We're the police. If you are Mrs. Putnam, then we're here to help you.
Thank heaven you don't know how they tortured me to make me write a new will.
You say the new will leaves everything to them?
Yes.
In that event, it will be a simple matter to trap them and for you to prove yourself. Have you got the old will?
No, they destroyed it.
Well, it doesn't matter. You'll tell me the contents of the old will. They'll give themselves away when they hear it read. And now, Mrs. Putnam, about those who tortured you. Who are they? I'm grateful to all of you for not objecting to my presence at the reading of this will.
Well, having you here, Detective Hanson, is best for all of us. We're really obliged to you for your kindness.
Thank you, Miss Putnam. And now, if all of you don't mind, Dr. Holloway, Mr. Putnam, Williamson, Adams, I'll be brief. Oh, Porky, wheel Mr. Putnam's chair a little closer.
Right, Jeff.
I had the courts appoint me to see that this will is made valid and legal. Now, this is it. I, Martha Putnam, being of sound mind and body, do hereby bequeath my entire fortune and all my worldly goods to Joel Adams, my partner.
Oh, no, you've made a mistake.
Careful, Lois. What did you say, Miss Putnam?
That isn't my aunt's last will.
Lois. No, I must confess, Miss Putnam, that isn't in your aunt's last will.
Then what do you mean by reading that? My aunt left everything to me.
Please, Lois.
You're right, Lois. I did. In the will you forced me to sign.
Mrs. Putnam. Don't move, Doctor.
Yes, Lois. I signed a will leaving everything to you. That's true. But only because you and your darling doctor forced me to. Oh, I never dreamed that my own flesh and blood would be that selfish.
Just a moment, Mrs. Putnam. The conspiracy to spirit you away and bury the cook in your place was entirely my idea. Don't blame Lois.
It was a clever plot, my friends, and it might have worked, but fortunately you made mistakes. By the way, Doctor, does that bandage on your hand cover a nasty bite you got while doing away with the dog?
Yes, it does. I confess to everything, Mr. Hanson, but Mrs. Putnam is as much to blame as anyone. Everyone who ever lived in this house hated her. With all the money you had, Mrs. Putnam, you never did one decent thing in your whole life. You distrusted everybody and hurt everybody. And so we plotted to get you out of the way. Fate was kind enough to provide us with your cook as the means. With your money, we could have gotten something out of life.
You'll get life now, all right, without her money.
You can relax now, friend. This story is over. But still another plot is being formed for our next session in the inner sanctum. Are we scared? Sure. But what of it? Isn't the villain a great deal more frightened than we? But thanks to clever sleuthing, everything will be solved. And there's one more mystery we may be able to solve for you quite easily. When you don't feel good, when you're low and irritable and the whole world looks black and uninviting, try Carter's Little Liver Pill. Don't give in to that depressed feeling that bogs you down. Go to your nearest drugstore right now and ask for genuine Carter's Little Liver Pills. Regular size, 25 cents. There now. We've closed the door to the inner sanctum for another week. Time to go. But spread the news to all arch criminals that we shall ride again in their pursuit next week. This is no laughing matter for them, my friends, so take your tongue out of your cheek. That's better. Remember, we'll expect you next week at this same time in the mysterious circle of the inner sanctum. Oh, by the way, you like good mystery stories, so be sure to read this month's Inner Sanctum mystery, The Case of the Solid Key, by Anthony Boucher. Good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Boris Karloff on Inner Sanctum Mystery. Brought to you by the makers of Carter's Pills.
Good evening, friends. Let me welcome you once more to the inner sanctum. This is Raymond, your host. Come in, won't you, and sit down? No, I'm not being polite. I'd prefer you to sit, you see. Because within the next 5 minutes, you're going to be so weak in the knees that you won't be able to stand.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries again has the pleasure of bringing you the famous star of radio, screen, and stage, now featured in the current Broadway success, Arsenic and Old Lace, Boris Karloff. This evening, Mr. Karloff appears in Robert Newman's dramatization of Edgar Allan Poe's famous story, The Telltale Heart. Presented for your entertainment by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pill, the best friend to your sunny disposition.
And now our story. A story based on a tale by the greatest master of the macabre that ever lived, Edgar Allan Poe. The story of a man who could hear not only every sound on earth, but even things that don't exist. So, turn down the lights, call in a friend or neighbor to keep you company, and listen to Boris Karloff as Simon in The Telltale Heart. It's early evening. The sun is just setting behind a range of low hills. On top of the nearest hill is a huge rambling building surrounded by park-like grounds. A road winds from its gates down to the little village below. Down this road comes a man. He's tall, gaunt, his hair snow white. He's so busy with his thoughts that he doesn't see the small, dark man who sits by the roadside. But just as he is about to pass him...
Good evening.
Huh? Oh, why, good evening.
Nice evening, isn't it?
Nice? Why, it's the most wonderful, perfect evening I'll ever know this side of heaven.
You don't say.
And you can't know what it's like to feel as if you'd just risen from the dead. As if your tomb was opened. And you were told that you could return to the world that you knew and loved.
Can't I?
You can't. You see, my name is Simon. I was a musician. 2 years ago, I went stone deaf. Suddenly. Completely.
Do you know what deafness means to a musician? It's like dying, or worse, like dying and knowing that you're dead. Oh, I went to doctors, but they could do nothing for me. But finally, one of them sent me to see the doctor who has the place up on the hill here.
Dr. Adair?
Yes, Dr. Adair. He kept me with him for 6 months, and now I'm going home again.
He cured you? You can hear?
Hear? Listen hard, and tell me what you can hear right now.
Nothing very much. The wind? Cricket?
Cricket and the wind. Do you know what I can hear? I can hear the grass growing, the sap rising in the trees. I can hear the stars moving in their courses. I can hear things that no man ever heard before. Now do you know why I said that this was the most wonderful evening that ever was?
Yes, Simon. But I knew why before. You see, I just left the place up on the hill myself.
You left there? You mean...
When I was taken there, I was blind.
Oh, your eyes, yes. I hadn't noticed before, but they are strange. Shall we walk on together?
Simon? Just where did you plan to go?
Well, I've been thinking about that for weeks now. All the weeks when I couldn't leave my room. I must get used to being able to hear again, gradually. From my window, I could see an old mill, just this side of the village.
Yes, it's deep in the woods, deserted. There's moss on the water wheel, and the door hangs open by one hinge.
You mean that you can see it from here?
My eyes have become as good as your hearing. You thought of going there, living there?
For a while, until I was ready to return to the world. Oliver, why don't you come with me? Then when we are both ready, we can go back together to the world.
Yeah. I could do that.
Think of what it's going to mean, how much we're going to be able to help people. You with your sight and I with my hearing.
Help them? Yes. Yes, of course. All right, Simon. We'll go to your old mill.
This way, Oliver. Up this path.
Ozzy!
What? Someone's coming. The farmer. He seems to be looking for something.
Good evening. I'm looking for my cow. Have you seen her?
Well, what kind of a cow is she?
A brown and a white one with a crooked horn.
Wait. I hear her. She's grazing in a field on the other side of the woods.
Hear her? That's almost a mile from here.
I have good ears.
Good? You must have ears like a fox. But that field, that's the squire's. How did she get there?
You think someone took her? Who would?
Well, it's the squire's land, but he's the richest man around here. Why should he have taken my cow?
Wait a minute. Let me see. Yes. Yes, I do see someone with your cow. He's just leaving her.
You can see that? Right through the woods?
I have good eyes.
Who is it? What's he like? Is he tall, wearing a brown jacket?
Yes.
I knew it. It's the squire. He's trying to steal my cow. I'd better go get her. Thank you very much. Perhaps I'll see you both again.
Perhaps. We'll both be staying around here for a while there in the old mill.
Why did you tell him that, Oliver? Did you really see the squire taking his cow?
I saw what he wanted me to see.
What do you mean?
He hates the squire because the squire's rich and he's poor.
But what?
Never mind, Simon. Shall we go on to the mill?
Here we are. And it's just the way I knew it would be. Quiet, peaceful, no noises, just sound. And even those are dulled by the waterfall.
Yes, it's just the way I knew it would be, too. Dark, dank. The home of the rats and spiders. We'll be happy living here with them.
Happy with rats and spiders? Why?
Because they're like me. Rats see in the dark, and spiders spin webs.
I don't understand you, Oliver. Must you always see the worst, the most evil side of everything?
Always.
But why? Don't you love people? Don't you think that this is a good world?
A good world when I was blind for more than 2 years?
But whose fault was that?
What difference does that make? I was blind. And did anyone care that I was? No. Love people. I hate them.
But, Oliver, that's wrong. You've no right to hate anyone or anything.
What's that?
What? It sounds like wings, like... Yes, there it is, there. A swallow. Why, it's frightened, trying to get out. Why, it's beating itself against the wall and... Oh, poor thing, it's hurt itself. Fallen to the ground. I'd better catch it.
Is it badly hurt?
No, I don't think so. Oh, just this one wing.
Here, let's see. Perhaps we can put a splint on it, heal it.
Do you think so? Here, Oliver. But be gentle. It's still terribly frightened.
I will.
Oh, Oliver! What are you doing to that bird?
Doing?
Blood, you've crushed the swallow, killed it.
So I have.
You killed it deliberately.
You think so? I told you we all have some badness deep inside us. Even you. Here you are ready to believe the worst of me, that I'd wantonly crush a harmless little sparrow to death and... Simon.
What is it?
I don't know, but there's something in your face. Something that wasn't there before.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going up to bed.
Simon! Simon, wait!
It wasn't he that was blind. It was I. Oh, he is bad, evil, clean through. He's like one of the spiders he loves so much, lurking here and spinning cunning webs to catch innocent people in. And what he saw in my face just now, there was something there. Something that wasn't there before. Death. Why did this have to happen to me? I was so happy just a little while ago. I loved everyone, the whole world. And now I have to kill him.
And here I am, friend, Raymond, your host in the inner sanctum, who also loves everyone. So, Simon has decided he must murder his companion. Not because he wants to, but in order to keep him from spreading the hate and evil he seems to love. That's a charming idea. But if Oliver's eyes are as good as he says they are, good enough to see death in Simon's face, how will he be able to do it, Quite a problem, isn't it?
Well, Raymond, everyone has problems. It's the answer that counts.
It certainly does, Mr. Hurley, in a mystery drama.
Yes, and in a domestic drama, too. If you don't believe it, listen to what Agnes Vale says to her husband at the dinner table.
Oh, Bob, you haven't said a word about the cake, and I baked it especially for your birthday.
After 30, no one wants to be reminded of birthdays.
Oh, that's silly. Besides, a person's only as old as they feel.
Well, if that was the case, I'd be about 60.
You mean 90. No one could save up the grouch you've got in only 60 years.
If you felt as irritable, low, and out of sorts as I have lately, you'd be grouchy, too.
Of course I would. Anybody would. So the thing to do is not to feel that way.
What can anyone do about it?
Very simple, my dear. Try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Right, and when you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills. They do the work of calomel but have no calomel in them, for they are simple pills made of vegetable drugs. They wake up the flow of one of our most vital digestive juices. When this vital juice flows at the rate of 2 pints a day, it helps to digest our food and bring back the glorious feeling that goes with regularity. Then most folks feel like happy days are here again. But be sure you get the genuine Carter's Little Liver Pill.
Well, friends, are you sorry I advised you to sit down before? I thought not. You still want me to go on with the story of the Telltale Heart? Very well. It's a little later that same evening, and Simon is sitting in the upper story of the old deserted mill, waiting, listening.
Sleep, Oliver, sleep. Aren't you ever going to sleep? Oh, I know you're lying down. I heard you getting undressed. I even heard the thread snap when you pulled that button off your shirt. But you're not asleep yet. I can tell by your breathing, the way your heart's beating. And that's what I must wait for. The time when you're really asleep. When you close those hawk eyes that can see even in the dark. That could read murder in my face when I didn't know it was there myself. Wait a minute. There. Now you're asleep. And now I must go. Easy with the door. Careful. And even more careful going down the stairs. Shh. Don't creak like that. Suppose he wakes. No, he can't. He won't wake up. He can't. And even if he does... here we are. The door to his room. How shall I do it? Those sacks he's using as a pillow. If I pulled them out and held them over his face and smothered him, that's it, yes. Then I wouldn't have to touch him. I wouldn't.
Who's that? Who's there? There is someone there. I can see you. It's Simon.
Yes, it's Simon.
What do you want? What are you doing here? I know you've come to kill me.
Yes, Oliver. I've come to kill you.
Philip, you can't do that. You can't.
Yes, Oliver, I can. And I have to. Oh, please don't struggle like that. I'm stronger than you are. You can't get away from me. You can't. You can't. That noise. Hear it? It's your heart. Beating, pounding, driving the blood through your veins. It's beating more slowly now. Slower and fainter. Running down like a tired clock. I'm not going to let you go until it's stopped. So don't struggle. Don't struggle, please. Just a few seconds more. I can hardly hear it now. Just a faint, throbbing murmur. And now, even that's gone. Yes, it stopped. And you're dead. Oliver, listen. I didn't want to do it. I didn't, but I had to. You were only interested in hurting people. That's why I had to do it. And that's why I'm not going to give myself up or confess that I killed you, because I could still help people. You understand, don't you? That's why I must get rid of your body, hide it somewhere. Oh, what am I to do with you? I know. I'll keep you here, tear up the floor and hide you underneath it. Let's see now, this crowbar. And this one here, there. That should be big enough. And now, in you go. Goodbye, Oliver. Goodbye. Just put these boards back. Nail them down again with the same rusty nails. And it's done. Now I'll spread this dust over the cracks. No one will be able to tell what I've done. No, not even with your eyes. If you could still use them. What's that? A light. A lantern outside. Someone at the door. Maybe Christie's come back again.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Trent, the constable.
The constable? What do you want?
Oh, nothing much. Thought I'd drop in. Say hello.
Come in, Constable. Come right in.
Thanks. Great time of night to be visiting, but
I heard there were strangers living out here, and I thought I might...
Why, of course. It's part of your job to investigate strangers, isn't it?
In a way. Not that you're a stranger, exactly.
What do you mean?
Well, you've been around here for some time, haven't you? Up at Dr. Adair's place in the hill, I mean?
Oh, yes, of course. I just left there this afternoon.
Uh-huh. And your friend, where's he? Sleeping?
Friend? Why, there's no one here with me. I'm all alone.
But the doctor said... You mind if I look around?
No, of course not.
Not that I doubt your word or anything like that.
Oh, now, don't apologize, Constable. Go right ahead. Well, Constable?
There's certainly no sign of anyone else.
Well, I told you so.
Yes, you did. Now, I'll just sit down here for a minute. Get my pipe going.
No, not there. Don't sit there.
Why not?
Because, well, it was just that the floor looked a little rotten right there, and I was afraid that... Oh, I guess it's all right.
Sure. Strong enough to hold me, anyway.
Don't step me if I catch you. Good heavens. What's that?
What's what?
That sobbing. That noise. Beating away like...
I don't hear any noise.
But you must. Those ears of mine. Sometimes they're too good. It's just your watch ticking.
Watch? I haven't got a watch on me.
You haven't? But then what? Oh, look, Constable, I could use a bit of exercise. Suppose I walk you back to the village.
Well, that's mighty nice of you. I'm glad to have your company. But there's no hurry, is there? Just let's sit here for a while.
I don't want to sit. Constable, will you come now? Now, this minute. If you don't, I don't know what I'll do.
Hey, you have gotten yourself into a state. Is anything the matter?
No, of course not. It's just that I get nervous, restless, and you won't mind if I walk up and down right here, will you?
If it'll make you feel any better, go ahead.
Thank you. This floor, it is noisy, isn't it? It isn't noisy enough. Constable, this lever here, I've been wondering about it. What's it for, do you know?
Why, yes. I think it opens the sluice, starts the mill wheel turning.
It does? Then let's try it. See if it still works. There.
Yeah, still works all right. It's quite a racket, too.
You're not loud enough still. Constable, for heaven's sake, will you come now? Leave here with me. If you don't, I'll go back.
Hey, look, there's no need to get so excited.
I'm not excited. I'm perfectly calm and quiet. Will you come now, right away?
But I told you.
I know what you're doing. Sitting there, pretending you haven't heard, making me stay here and listen to it, beating louder and louder and louder. All right, I confess. I killed him. I killed him. His body is right underneath you, under the floor. I killed him, and that noise you hear is his heart. The beating of his telltale heart.
Hello, Dr. Adair.
Oh, Constable, hello. Well, did you find them?
Yes, Doctor. I've got some of my boys will be bringing the other one, Oliver, along in a little while.
Bringing him? What's the matter with him?
Well, sort of. They were in the old mill by the river. Simon had evidently tried to kill Oliver, but he hadn't done a good job of it. He nailed him up underneath the floor. And when we got him out, he was unconscious. He's still pretty weak.
I see. Bring Simon in, will you?
Sure. All right, Simon. In here.
Yes, Constable.
Now, turn him around so that he's facing me. That's it. Well, hello, Simon.
Hello, Doctor.
Simon, why did you run away from here this afternoon?
Run away? I didn't run away. I left. What need was there for me to stay when I was cured?
Oh. And what you did, or rather tried to do to Oliver?
That was wrong. I know it was wrong, but
But I had to do it. He was bad, Doctor, bad. He hated everyone, wanted to hurt them, and I couldn't let him.
You know, it's strange, Constable. 2 men, both mental cases because of a sudden affliction. But while Oliver's blindness made him hate, Simon's deafness filled him with love for all mankind.
Deafness? You mean he's deaf? But when you talk to him, he answers you.
Yes, he reads lips. That's why I had you turn him around, so he was facing me. But he's stone deaf. He will never hear again.
What's that you're saying? Deaf? But I'm not deaf. Why, there's no one can hear better than I, no one. I heard everything when I left here. Things no man has ever heard before. The song of the swan. The breathing of the fish. Why, I even heard the beating of Oliver's heart. After I'd killed him.
Yes, Simon, of course.
I'm not deaf, I tell you. I'm not. I'm not.
So, Simon did hear all the things he said he did. Even the beating of the telltale heart. And not with his ears, but with something else deep inside his poor, sick brain. Speaking of telltale heart, I saw it's not a heart at all. It's just Mr. Hurley's knees knocking together.
And if you think you're kidding, Raymond, you're crazy.
Oh, I'm not kidding, Ed. In Mr. Karloff's audiences, that's the equivalent of applause. Since everyone's generally much too scared to show the usual approval with their hands. So we won't take any chances. We'll just use words and say, thanks, Boris Karloff, for your splendid performance of tonight's dramatization of Poe's The Telltale Heart.
It was a pleasure, Raymond, to be able to bring our friends one of the world's most famous stories. And I'm very grateful to Everett Sloane as Oliver and Santos Ortiaga, who played Christie, for the help that they gave me. So now I suggest that you listen to Ed Hurley, who has some helpful advice for which you may be very grateful.
This is Raymond again, your host, getting ready to close that door to the inner sanctum and say goodnight until the same time next week. In the meantime, if you care to do a little bloodthirsty reading, try this month's Inner Sanctum novel, I'll Eat You Last, by H.C. Brandon. In case you've already read that, why not try some of the other stories by the author of tonight's mystery drama, Edgar Allan Poe? According to all critics, this writer has quite a future. Oh, good night. Pleasant dreams,
Inner Sanctum Mysteries will be on the air again next Sunday night, same station, same time, with another chiller for thriller fans. So be with us then. This is Ed Hurley, speaking for the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills and reminding you, when you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills, the best friend to your sunny disposition.
This is the Blue Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries, starring Ann Seymour and Myron McCormick. Brought to you by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills, the best friend to your sunny disposition.
Good evening, friends. Welcome. Welcome to the Inner Sanctum. This is Raymond, your host, teller of strange tales. Come in, if you dare. Now, before we begin, a word to those of you who don't frighten easily. It'll be no disgrace if before we're finished you find yourself trembling against your will.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries takes great pleasure in presenting two of America's best-known and best-loved radio artists, Miss Ann Seymour and Mr. Myron McCormick. Tonight, these two favorites of the air lanes co-star in The Man from Yesterday, an original radio mystery drama by Milton Geiger. Brought to you by the makers of Carter's Little Liver Pills, the laxative with the two-way action. For over 60 years, everybody has known that the name Carter's Little Liver Pills means gentle and efficient help whenever a laxative is needed. Yes, and they know, too, that Carter's Little Liver Pills bring added relief by waking up the flow of a very important digestive juice. So take advantage of this two-way action and ask for Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Do you like to have your hair stand on end? You like to feel your blood run cold? Of course you do. Come along with me, then, to the jungle. Still and hot. Weirdly yellow in the strange light of the tropic moon. In a clearing, the African natives of Dr. Robert Rand's museum party sway to the slow throb of their drums. A few hundred yards off in the thick bush, a monstrous humpbacked shape drops silently from the trees, moves swiftly across the shadowed jungle floor. Suddenly the earth gives way under the dark, crouching monster's feet. He struggles wildly a moment and falls, disappearing into the earth.
Wanaran! Quick! Come quick! Ngagi! Come quick!
Eh? What's up, Sangala?
Is something wrong, Sangala?
Wana, you come fast. Bring big gun.
Oh, what is it?
Ngagi!
Gorilla? Where?
Old man gorilla. He fall in trap.
Oh, you shouldn't go, Bob. You're fever.
Where is he? Where is the gorilla?
Sangala show you. Bring big gun. You follow me.
Can you see him down there, Bob?
Can I see him? What a fellow. What a prize he'd be for Professor Converse at the museum. A full-grown gorilla. Ruth, we've got to get this fellow home, alive.
Oh, Bob, it's dangerous. You're ill. Must you?
Converse would never forgive me if I didn't.
Bob,
What is it?
the gorilla hasn't made a sound for some time now.
That's right. Turn the flashlight on there, will you, Ruth? That's very strange.
Is he hurt?
No. But look at him. See how he stares up at me.
Yes. And such steady, knowing, intelligent eyes. Almost human.
Yes. Gazing so steadily into my own. Unflinching. Unafraid. And puzzled. As though he's seen me before. As though he recognizes me. Is trying to remember me from somewhere. Sometime.
All right. Easy, man. All away.
Ah, it's exciting, isn't it?
Nerve-wracking, moving a great ape from where he obviously belongs to where he obviously doesn't.
All right, hold it, man. Keep the cage from swinging as it comes down to deck level. All right. Lower away. Easy there now. All right. Good. That does it, man. Now cast away the lowering chains and begin closing the hatch. We'll be right up.
I'm tired, Bob.
A little. But it's a relief to have Ngaji safely stowed away down here.
Ngaji. It's a musical name, isn't it?
Means gorilla. Well, nothing to do but keep him safe in his cage, keep him from catching cold, and feed him wild carrots and parsley. If it were for anyone but Professor Converse, I'd chuck it all right now. Sorry I started it. I don't like him, Ngaji.
Oh, he's a gentleman and a scholar.
Don't talk playful nonsense about him, Ruth. He's a killer.
He is not. I happen to know.
What do you mean you happen to know? Have you been around his cage again lately?
Well, I've been teaching him a few simple tricks, if that's what you mean.
What do you call a simple trick?
Well, for example, shaking hands with a lady.
Ruth, you haven't.
I have, and is my arm torn from its socket? It is not.
Ruth, don't you understand? You can't make friends with a gorilla. You can't compromise with the jungle. And Gadji is clever and he's dangerous. He'll watch with those beady little eyes of his. He'll wait with that tricky little brain of his. Until his time comes. Now, don't give him his chance, Ruth.
Oh, you're not well, Bob. Until you magnify the dangers and the menace of the jungle and all that bookish stuff. All out of proportion to... Well, what's the matter?
Look at him. He's been watching me all the time. See how he stares at me? Never batting an eye. Never moving a hair. Watching me. Matching my gaze, stare for stare.
Oh, come out of it, Bob.
Been like this from the moment we captured him. Ruth, that abysmal brute knows something.
Darling, this stuffy ship's hold is getting you. Let's go and feed some quinine, huh?
Very well.
What'll I do with Ngaji back home?
That's Professor Converse's problem, and he's welcome. Up the ladder with you. All right, men. Batten it down.
Bye-bye, Ngaji. So long, old man. Be good. The other hand. That's it. That's it. Ah, good fellow. Now, the other hand. Take my left hand now. The left. That's it. Oh, careful now. Don't squeeze so hard. Hey, Butch, take it easy. No. Mustn't pull. Stop pulling, do you hear? Ngaji. That's better. Now let go of the lady's hand. That's it. Now then, how about some exercise? Think you could walk around the hold here with a distinguished dame on your arm? Yeah, let's see how this chain and iron pin work on this door. They think you can't be trained, but I know you can. Oh, this is easy. Oh, have this iron pin up in just a minute. Oh, just be patient, old fellow. Oh, here it comes. Oh. Well, better luck next time.
You down there, Ruth?
Coming, Bob. I was just having a word with Ngaji.
Well, hurry. We've got little old New York on our horizon, and I'm quite glad. That's very kind of you, Professor Converse, putting Ruth and me up at the museum like this.
Not at all. It's plenty room. Just want to keep an eye on that fever of yours, because you won't.
Well, nevertheless, Professor, we won't impose on your hospitality a moment more than it takes us to get settled again here in America.
Here. Here's another door. After you, Rand.
Thank you.
This old wing is out of use, but it still has electricity. And what's more important, heat. Till the zoo can build proper quarters for Ngaji, we'd better keep him in here where the temperature is even.
I've been thinking, Professor. These oak doors wouldn't be any problem at all to Ngaji if he happened to get on the loose.
True. The door closing off this old wing from the new building is really made of iron.
I see.
So, unless your gorillas of the armor-piercing variety, pretty safe. Here's next to the last door. This used to be our dinosaur room.
A huge room.
Well, here we are. Royal Suite itself.
Ruth, what are you doing in here?
I'm talking to Ngaji. Hello, Professor.
I shouldn't become too familiar with Ngaji, Mrs. Rand.
Oh, he's quite gentle. You know what he does now? He takes the rings off my fingers and then gives them back.
Takes the rings off your fingers. Ruth, come on, let's get out of here.
All right. You're rougher than a 500-pound ape. He's a real gentleman.
Look at him. Look how he presses his face between the bars. To get a closer look at me. It's been like that. By George, I'll give him a good look at
Don't
me.
get too close, Rand. Now, careful.
Oh, he doesn't know you well, Bob. Bob!
There, you ugly brute. Take a look. Take a good long look. Well, what do you see? All right, he missed me.
Could have shattered your skull with that blow, Rand.
But it's only because he doesn't know you, Bob.
He does know me. He looked into my face, and he saw something. What did he see?
What do you think he saw? Well, I'm no fortune teller. I'm only Raymond, your host here in the inner sanctum. But I can tell you he must have seen something. But what was it? That's the big question. Yes, and when that logy, dull, sluggish feeling tells us that a laxative may be needed, the big question is, what laxative will do you the most good? Lots of folks have answered the question successfully by taking Carter's Little Liver Pills. Why? Because Carter's Little Liver Pills offer help in these two effective ways. One, they help relieve irregularity in an efficient, thorough, yet gentle manner. Two, usually within a half hour after taking them, Carter's Little Liver Pills wake up the flow of a very important digestive juice. It's this vital juice that helps tone up a lazy, sluggish digestive system so that folks can lose their grouts and feel better. You better keep that in mind, friends. And next time, remember Carter's Little Liver Pills. The laxative that helps in more ways than one. All right. Do you still want to know what the man from yesterday saw when he looked into Rand's face? You'll be sorry, but you asked for it. So let's go into Ngaji's cage with him now, as he listens to a strange, mysterious voice.
Ngaji, Lord of the Jungle, do you hear me? Do you hear, Ngaji? Do you hear the jungle speak?
Ngaji. I am Ngaji.
I am the jungle.
Jungle.
You looked into the man-creature's pale eyes. Do you remember now? Do you remember that other Ngaji 1,000 million moons ago, before the pale man-creature walked the earth?
Man. Small. Wait.
Do you remember Ngaji?
Remember.
You fought with him in the jungle, fought for the beautiful she. He conquered. How you hated him.
Hey.
He was mighty, and he was different from the others. When the others swept through the trees, that other one ran, swift as the wind, on the ground. Remember.
Remember. Hey.
You fought, and you died. That other one who was different stood triumphant in the clearing, his neck half bitten through, victorious. He who would one day be a man.
Man.
Your conqueror then. Your captor now.
Hate. Hate, man.
Where is your strength, O Ngaji? That this same other one conquers you again, as he did 1,000 million moons ago.
I am strong. I am Ngaji.
Yet, the weak one wins. Here.
Yes.
Here. Here.
Yes. Yes.
Come in, Rand. Come in.
Oh, good evening, Professor. Oh, you know it was me.
Of course. Well,
That's exactly why I'm here, Professor. Getting to be a habit around here. There's a knocking. It must be that feverish fool Rand.
come now. We want you here.
There's such a thing as wearing out your welcome.
You paid 1,000 times by bringing us back that magnificent gorilla.
I don't consider that adequate compensation. Professor, I might as well tell you. I'm sorry I ever blundered over the brute.
He's just getting you again. Go to bed and take
No,
some...
no. I'm afraid of him, Gadget. Not in the physical sense. I could cope with his power, his force. But he's changed. I can't cope with what he's become. It infuriates and humiliates me that gorilla has something on me. Has me at some disadvantage that I don't understand. It's gotten under my skin. You remember when he struck at me 3 weeks ago?
Do I remember? Of course I do.
He changed after that. When he looks at me now, he isn't puzzled. He isn't searching his memory for some clue to me anymore. He knows. He knows who I am and what I mean to him. Whatever it is, he hates me. Hates me with a dreadful, consuming energy.
I don't question that, Rand. It's plain enough.
Yeah, do you hear? He never had those tempers. Now something is tormenting him into a frenzy of hatred and defiance. Something in that secret brain of his.
You'd better calm him down before he dashes out that secret brain of his. Come on, Rand. We'll talk later.
Be quiet over here! Quiet! Quiet!
Who did you say was afraid of whom?
He's quiet, yes. But look at those eyes. Where have you seen such hatred?
Or such tremendous living power?
Yes. You've got to admire it at first. You almost think for a moment that he represents the super race. That big, black-haired, purebred gorillas are the dominating people. And on the basis of sheer power, with a certain amount of intelligence and ruthlessness, you think he ought to rule. Then you stop to think. You remember. Yes, he's pure black gorilla and powerful. But after all, he's just a gorilla.
Oh, I thought I heard him judge. He's fighting in here.
Well, you did. Your precious beast was paying attention. You'd catch cold running about barefooted like that, and that wouldn't do. Because Engadji might catch it from you, and that would be the end of Engadji. On second thought, perhaps you'd better run around barefooted.
But, Bob, he's worth a fortune.
Well, so are you. So run along back to bed. Professor Converse and I have a chess game to play. Hey, Professor?
Engadji. Hi, old fella. I brought you bananas. Here. No, I haven't got any more. What? Oh, my hand. Which one? This? Oh, the left. Sure, pal. Take it easy, though. It breaks. That's a good boy. Oh, no. No, Engadji, give me back the rings. Come on, hand over the jewels. Oh, pick them up, Engadji. Engadji! All right. Get them myself. But you won't hear the end of it. I'll show you. You've eaten your last banana for a month, and don't you forget it. Engadji! What's the matter? Oh, don't you know me? Engadji, stay back! Stay back!
Your move, Professor.
Hey, Scott, it's Bruce. There's a light in the wing. Look. It's Bruce. The Bruce. Wait a minute, Rand. Here. Take my revolver. I'll come along.
Never mind. Stay here. Call for help. I can't hold him with just a revolver. Hurry!
Bob, help me, Bob! Come to me!
Bruce, what happened?
That's my answer. I unlocked the cage. He broke the door.
darling, that's all right.
I could just get in here and bar the door before he realized he was free.
Can you walk, darling?
No. I ran to the door, but I hit my foot and walked. I can't stand, Bob.
Put your arm around my shoulder. Hurry. He's breaking through.
I let him escape.
That's it, darling. Now hold tight.
But you're yourself. You can't carry me too, Bob.
Hobble on one foot now. Up. Come on now. All right, darling, quick. The next room. Quick, in here. Now, the next room. We've got to hold him up, throw him up. Come on, Ruth. Courage, darling,
I
courage.
cannot. I'm holding you back. Oh, leave me. Leave me with a gun. I can shoot. Please. Please. No.
In here. I'll try it. I got him. Quick now, before he recovers.
Bob, you can't go on with me.
Just one more door. The last door. All right. Can't crash iron. Keep moving. Try to help us, Sam. Can you?
I'm trying.
A little further. Just a little further. Here.
Oh, Bob! What's the matter?
Ruth. Lock. From outside, it's automatic.
Bob, but the professor...
I don't know. He's gone for help.
Oh!
Steady, girl. Steady.
The lights have... You hit the fuse box. You shot out the lights.
Listen.
He's dead. I got a shot in the face. He's dead.
Quiet. No. He's alive. He's stalking us in the dark.
How many bullets?
3.
Bob, one more thing, Guardian. It don't kill him.
Quiet. This way. Keep moving.
Now, Bob. He's against the window. Bob, the moon. The moon's coming out. Find it.
We'll see him, too. And I've got 2 shots left. Perhaps.
The moon. He sees it.
Steady. Friend, where are you? Friend! Why'd you light over here, Professor? Friend. Oh, thank heaven. Are you all right? Did you? Oh, my George. You did. Point blank range. My last 2 shots. Yes. In truth? She's a broken ankle. She fainted. She'll be all right, though. Oh. Well, Professor?
That's the end of poor Ngachi, eh?
Is it, Professor?
You're certainly dead.
Again.
Again?
Have you ever had the feeling that something that has just happened, that happened before, somewhere, a long time ago?
A very familiar psychological phenomenon. What about it?
I feel that all this has happened before.
When?
And that it will happen again. I only wonder when. And where. And who will be the victor. Then.
Yeah, let me look at you. Oh, yes. You're hurt. There are the marks of teeth on your neck.
An unusual birthmark. It's occurred in my family for generations. Shows up when we become excited. Is it strange, Professor?
All right, friends. You can come out from under your table. Everything's all right now. Ngaji is dead, and we're safe for another 10,000 years.
Good.
Oh, Mr. Hurley, Ngaji was only imaginary, so don't let him worry you.
Oh, you're right, Raymond.
especially when real things can be so much more troublesome.
You mean things like an irritable, sour, out-of-sorts feeling that so often warns us a laxative is needed?
Yes, and that's why folks have been taking Carter's Little Liver Pills for years. They know the name stands for dependable, gentle relief. Yes, and besides, folks know that usually within a half hour, Carter's Little Liver Pills will wake up the flow of a very essential digestive juice. This juice is all important to normal, proper digestion. So why don't you take advantage of this time-tested two-way action and ask for Carter's Little Liver Pills?
Well, friends, it's time to close that squeaking door to the inner sanctum until the same time next week. Invite all your friends to be here with you. It'll give you courage. There's safety in numbers. Well, next week, our ghost artist, pardon me, guest artist, comes with the highest credentials. He was on the horror roll at Spirit School. Fine student. And for anyone who'd like a snap course in exciting mystery reading, let me suggest this month's Inner Sanctum novel, The Murder of a Novelist, by Sally Wood. On sale at your favorite bookstore. Now, friends, here's an urgent, serious thought. Remember the Red Cross. It needs your help now more than ever. And also remember you are giving both for Christmas and for America. And your presents are United States defense bonds and stamps. Buy all you can afford today. Well, good night. Pleasant dreams, huh?
Attention, armchair detectives. One way to solve a puzzling case is to keep your eyes and ears open. What valuable tip would you get from this conversation?
I ought to have been home 2 hours ago.
Gotta get this order out, Tom. It's important.
But I've stayed 3 nights this week.
Well, so's everyone else. Come on, Tom. These days, ground things out.
But you fellas don't feel as sunk and low down and out of sorts as I have lately.
I can't afford to. There's too much work to be done. So when you get the feeling slowed up and sluggish, why not do something about it?
Yeah? What do you suggest?
Try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Right. And when you don't feel good, try Carter's Little Liver Pills. They do the work of calomel, but have no calomel in them. For they are simple pills made of vegetable drugs. They wake up the flow of one of our most vital digestive juices. When this vital juice flows at the rate of about 2 pints a day, it helps to digest our food and bring back the glorious feeling that goes with regularity. Then most folks feel like happy days are here again. But be sure you get the genuine Carter's Little Liver Pills. 25 cents at all drugstores.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.